Upgrades to the static fire water deluge farm at Massey's, fitting out of the chopsticks has finally commenced at Sanchez. Work is wrapping up at the new office building and factory extension at the build site, and work on the new orbital pad B continues over at the launch site. Welcome to episode 69 of Starbase Flyover Update. We'll cover all the Starbase development from the 19th of December 2024 through to January the 4th, 2025. After a well-earned holiday break for the RGV aerial photography team, there is a lot to catch up on at Starbase, Texas. My name is Jeff A, so let's buckle up and enjoy the latest flights from 10,500 feet. We'll start our tour over at the Massey's test facility. Before we dive in, let's have a quick look at the labelled map by Proky to get you oriented. Progress has been a little slow since our last flyover. Before we start at the site, let's cover recent vehicle activity. Booster 15 was transported to the site on the 21st of December. It then conducted a cryogenic proof test of its methane tank on the 27th, and then both of its tanks on the 28th. A big shout out goes to Anthony from the Rocket Ranch for capturing these images. Finally, it was moved back to the production site on the 29th. Now let's begin at the bottom of the site, where a new crane has been delivered. This crane is a Liebherr LR11000 and is likely to replace the LR1600 because of the growing size of the structural test stand and test articles. Moving to the structural test stand, a ring of piston clevises have been installed at the bottom of the structure. You might notice that there is a high number of these. It's speculated that they have doubled the amount of clevises, with one set to hold onto the article while the other applies force to the bottom of the test article. At the water deluge farm, excavation work has started on the foundation for the new vertical liquid nitrogen tank seen sitting next to the methane farm. The old tank and associated pipework can be seen nearby. This upgrade could potentially allow for longer static fires. Now let's have a quick look at the commercial development site nearby on Highway 4. Crew are installing more piles along the front of the site, with earthworks continuing further along. Concrete is being laid in the area where timber piles were previously installed. The layout is being repeated with the next two buildings receiving formwork and further piles. Nearby, crews are assembling flooring onto prefabricated frames. It's unclear if these buildings are for accommodation or commercial retail outlets. As seen on the previous flyover, the edges of the excavated section have a deliberate repeating pattern. The reason for this is unclear. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And now, on to Sanchez. Thanks to Proky for supplying this labelled map. Beginning at the OLM assembly area, all sections of the top deck pancake have been lifted in place. This should complete the assembly of the structure. The very last things to be installed should be the hold-down clamp arms, piping for the pancake and electrical connections. At the flame bucket construction area, new pipe sections are being welded together that should make up the water-cooled surface. Additional support beams are also being fabricated. Moving closer to Highway 4, a new mystery structure has appeared. We don't currently know its purpose, but we'll keep an eye on it. Nearby, in a pipe rack construction area, a truck has been loaded with unknown steel frames destined for the launch site. If we look closely, you can see that the third subcooler for the tank farm has had its top manifold installed. The manifold for the second subcooler already at the pad has appeared at the GSC building. Progress continues on the chopsticks, carriage and QD arm, especially around the chopsticks, as they have started working on the hinge points for the lower stabilizer arms, as well as the installation of the landing rail dampers. The SQD arm now has scaffolding at the elbow end as crews ready it for installation in the near future. Behind the storage tent, some new types of parts have arrived and, judging by their colour, are destined for the Star Factory. These 4 vaporizers have been moved to the gas generator area from the old scrapyard area cleanup. At the new scrapyard, a possible version 1 booster aft section jig is in the process of being scrapped, while Ship 26's nose cone tip still awaits its ultimate destiny. And finally, we can see Ship 33's transport stand is being prepared for its move to the launch site. And with that, let's move to the build site. Starting off next to Mega Bay 2, we can see work access platforms laid out ahead of assembly as in previous weeks. Around behind the bay, crew are finishing the drainage work, the boundary storm wall and walkway construction. Moving inside, let's take a look at this screenshot from SpaceX's recent video posted on X and YouTube ahead of Flight 7. We can see ships 33 and 34, with 33 being lifted onto the ship stand. We can see on the right of this frame the white circular platforms as well as some scaffolding that will be replaced by the structures staged outside. During the writing of this video, Mega Bay 2 was occupied by Ship 33 and 34 on the work stance to the left side, with Ship 35 under construction on the turntable to the right. Thanks to Lab Padre's cameras, we can see that on the evening of Monday the 6th of January, Ship 33 was lifted onto a transport stand. Taking a look inside at the Star Factory, Starship Gazer captured this shot of the 10 dummy Starlink satellites before they were loaded into Ship 33's Pez dispenser. As part of Starship testing on Flight 7, Ship 33 will release 10 satellites to test its payload door and dispenser system. More on Flight 7 upgrades later. On the evening of the 6th, we saw the crew placing a Starlink loading frame onto Ship 33's payload bay opening. This loader will only be a temporary measure during the testing phase. Soon after, we were treated to the site of the loading of the Starlink simulators into the Pez dispenser. This went on until 8 AM on the 7th, with 10 dummy satellites and 2 separators loaded in total. At around midnight of the 7th, it appears that the crews installed catch pins for the ship. Much like Ship 31, it has tiles and pins removed from that area that will impact the chopstick arms during a landing catch. These catch pins are only to test their durability during re-entry. Road closures on the 8th and 9th should be for this ship to venture to the launch site and to bring the hot staging ring stand back from Pad A. Taking to the air again, inside Mega Bay 1, Booster 17 has been constructed with its midsection, common dome and A2 sections being rolled into the bay from the Star Factory. Booster 15 and 16 are fully stacked and being prepared for flights as well. Moving on to the high bay, we see the previously mentioned white structure in assembly. With the high bay currently being unoccupied and ship nose cone stacking likely moving to the Star Factory, the bay offers a convenient space with a crane for miscellaneous structures to be assembled. Let's take a look at this angled photo showing the completed exterior of the Star Factory. Work still remains to be done on the interior, as seen by the jigs being constructed over at Sanchez. Some people on X suggested that this area in front of the new office would be a great spot for a permanent Starhopper display. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Moving on now, we take a look at Boca Chica village to see land has been cleared and laid with concrete near the old Starlink storage building for additional mobile housing. Mobile units continue to occupy the old crane yard area. Looking near the old solar farm and tracking dish area on the Spurson Street, a new 7-unit housing complex is under construction. By the edge of the village, the sushi bar roofing has been completed and palm tree planting continues along the streets. At the leisure centre site, vertical roofing posts are now in place for the amenities and plant room, while decorative steel flower petals adorn the children's wading pool. This flyover was made possible by our paid supporters on Patreon. Please consider supporting us to gain access to high-quality photo galleries and roundtable discussion the same day we fly. Before we head to the launch site, let's take a moment to visit some information presented by SpaceX regarding Flight 7. While the flight timelines have not been released, some new details regarding test objectives have. As previously mentioned at the build site, Flight 7 will feature the first time Starship will attempt to deploy a payload. The 10 Starlink simulators are planned to be deployed and follow a similar suborbital trajectory as the ship, ensuring they will burn up on re-entry. Flight 7 will also feature a repeat in-space relight of a Raptor engine just like Flight 6. Booster 14 has been fitted with Raptor engine number 314 that was previously flown in Booster 12 during Flight 5, which will be the first to fly on multiple launches. To better the chances of a catch attempt for Booster 14, hardware in the chopsticks have been further protected as damage to some of the chopstick sensors were the cause of the offshore divert of Booster 13. The chopsticks have also received new radar sensors to provide more accurate measurements between the chopsticks and vehicles during the catch process. Ship 33 is the first of the next generation of ships featuring numerous upgrades, including repositioned and smaller forward flaps, taller overall height which has allowed for a 25% increase in propellant volume, and finally the first ship to feature non-structural versions of future catch hardware needed for future catches. While we expect the Block 2 Starship to be outfitted with Raptor 3 engines, Ship 33 is still powered by Raptor 2, though it's been noticed that some integration revisions were required to make them compatible with upgrades that are likely related to the Raptor 3 design. Check out SpaceX's website to read the full pre-flight report. Now let's move on to the launch site, where SpaceX intends to launch Flight 7 in the coming days. Here's a new labelled map of the launch site. Starting at the flame trench, it appears that the tieback installation may be finishing. Along the south wall of the trench, we can see excavation has continued deeper with a possible third row of tiebacks installed in this area. Later in the day, the MC-28HD drill rig crawled out of the trench and was parked near the construction entrance. Turning around, a concrete pour was in progress along the middle section of the trench, extending from the existing propellant culvert. The area features several plate embeds cast into the concrete. In line with the rows of piles outside the sheet piles, there also appeared to be some bolt embeds exposed. Along the northwest end of the trench, electrical conduits were installed from the base of the tower along the existing culvert structure for the OLM. Moving to Tower 2, around the back of the base, the roof above the dead-end spool has been filled in past the back corner and continues on the drawwork side. Remaining roof beams and panels are seen here to the side. Near the tower, we can also see the Fagioli hardware that makes up the assembly jig for the chopsticks. The horizontal beam was recently installed atop the columns, still upright, but were then set back down as it appears the continued work with these will be delayed until after Flight 7. In the middle of the site, the large mound of soil has been levelled, and a new, smaller pile has appeared on the opposite side of the commodity culvert. This culvert appears to be rapidly approaching completion of concrete work. The main walls now reach the fluid bunker with an internal wall structure formed, and a concrete pump truck staged to fill them. Within the culvert, main propellant supply lines and associated pipe racks continue installation toward Pad B. Outside the culvert, the green-coated gaseous supply pipes are also being quickly installed and buried. Some initial pipework has been installed near the new vertical tanks. There was a small excavation during the previous flyover, but it appears that it was a simple trench for an underground pipe run near the high-pressure tanks and comes above ground closer to the electrical vaults. Shifting to the end of the tank farm, the subcooler plumbing is largely unchanged, with only a valve assembly added to the nitrogen manifold on top. In front of them, the pipe rack has been further constructed with some new electrical panels and conduits installed. To the right, the concrete pad is complete. A pile of gravel is there and would be later spread over the corner of this pad to allow the Buckner-owned LR11000 to crawl to the west side of the D2 entrance before ultimately returning to Pad B on January 6th. Behind the subcoolers, a new concrete foundation that appears to have rows of steel embeds was installed. It's unclear what hardware might be placed here. After observing many concrete pumpers in recent weeks working over the top of the tank farm protection wall, this week shows us some hints to what they were doing in this hard-to-see area. Here we see racks of high-pressure storage tanks being installed under the horizontal tank farm. If we shift to a more straight-down view, we can see this rail system running the length of the horizontal tanks, and a perpendicular rail can also be seen just past the first liquid nitrogen tank, where it seems they plan to use this open space under the tanks for helium and other gaseous commodities for Pad B, similar to the tanks on top of the fluids bunker at the Pad A tank farm. Checking in on the staff break room building, the former glassed portion is now being filled with concrete. To fill the void completely, they have cut access holes in the roof to place the concrete. We can also see the SpaceX LR11000 parked in this image. The evening after the flyover, a 6-point load spreader was transported to the launch site, and on January 5th, this crane made its way to Pad A in what appeared to be a removal of the hot staging ring from Booster 14. Over at Pad A, the area looks nice and organised as Flight 7 preparations continue. Booster 14 is back on the OLM. Crew were seen installing the flight termination system on January 2nd, as seen in this video from Lab Padre's Rover 2 camera. On the same day, Booster 14 igniter tests were performed, as well as grid fin actuation tests. The hot staging ring would be removed on January 6th for unknown work within the forward section of the booster. It would then be returned atop the booster on the afternoon of the 7th. Well, that's it for episode 69 of Starbase Flyover Update. Thanks for choosing to fly with RGV aerial photography, and I hope you all enjoyed the flight. If you liked what you saw today, please subscribe for more episodes and content so you don't miss out on the new videos each week. Thanks as usual go to the RGV team that make these episodes possible. I'm Jeff Fay, and we'll see you next time from 10,500 feet.